Phoenix police officers are recommending that charges be filed against a Valley father who left his little girl in a hot car where she later died. Investigators say 21-month-old Zipporah Johnson spent 2.5 hours strapped into a child's seat in her family's van Sunday afternoon after the family came home from church. Temperatures outside hovered near 110 degrees. Officers are recommending a charge of negligence. And Javier, incidents like this are just tragic reminders of the dangers that heat poses to people during the Arizona summer.
Good morning, Tara. And when you talk about such related deaths, well, one is too many, but according to kidscare.org, there have been 24 in the state of Arizona since 1994, since 2008. We're going to bring in Paul Penzone with Childhelp to explain some of the process, because in this situation, the parents, they had other kids that they were concerned with. They went into the house and someone just forgot, and that seems to be the case with most of these cases with hot car related deaths.
Absolutely, and it's a situation where it's not as though it's your typical neglect circumstance, because oftentimes neglect are those that are intentionally choosing to do that with their children. These are situations where good families are allowing themselves to become distracted, and then the circumstances just kind of take a course of their own. And it could lead to very devastating, finality, like in this case where this child died. Now, the statistics show that we average about 34 children a year who die in the United States as a result of this exact circumstance. That doesn't take into account all those that maybe are still left in the cars and might be harmed in other ways with their health because of the temperatures and other things. Arizona's the worst.
Yeah.
I mean, we deal with the most severe temperatures here.
How do we take us through some process to try to help us? I know parents have a lot going on. They can be distracted. What are some of the steps that you recommend to, I guess, eliminate that?
Well, I'm going to be pretty stern about this. Bottom line is, as a parent, it's your responsibility to make that child your priority at all times, and Childhelp preaches that. But I think what we need to do is look at this in the same way that the fire department here, who's very successful in their effort when it comes to children drowning. What they've created is an attitude of layers of safety. I think if parents take the same attitude when it comes to your child relative to this issue, you can have a lot of success. What you need to do is create reminders. We often do this when we have chores or things that we need to do during the course of the day. We'll set a reminder in some way to make sure that we don't overlook it. When it comes to your child, don't allow yourself to be distracted with things like the cell phone, the radio, a lot of things going on in the car that are unnecessary. That child should be your #1 focus, and their safety should be the most important thing.
And you can use some of those devices to help you remember that you have a child in the car.
Absolutely. Now, what I've done here, just to kind of for visualization, is there's a couple of stickers. One says check the back seat, and I know that seems ridiculous, but we wouldn't have to talk about this if children weren't dying, so obviously it's not. The other thing says call the sitter. It's not uncommon for parents to leave their child with another caretaker or with grandparents, and what they'll do is have them bring them to the nursery or the daycare. Well, if that's the case, you need to follow up and make sure that everything took its course in case they were overlooked and maybe the guardians for the child forgot and left them in the car. You don't want that to occur. Now, in the back seat here, what we did was, I don't have a car seat, but I have something that looks very similar, and what I did was I put a stuffed animal back there. This is actually something that a lot of agencies are recommending. Have a stuffed animal and put that in the car seat if you have a child. If the child is with you, the child will obviously go in the car seat, and then the stuffed animal goes to the front seat next to you. So it's a visualization right next to where you're seated to remind you that that child is still in the back seat, and then you just exchange it back and forth. The other thing that I did was, if I'm off to work, I have a backpack and I have my wallet and some other things. Even the cell phone, I would recommend always put the things that you need the most next to the car seat by your child, because when you get out to go do what you have to do, it's really less likely you're going to forget those things, unfortunately, and that would be a reminder for you to get in the back seat, get your things, and your child is there.
In this particular case, this child was left in the back seat for about 2.5 hours. Any amount of time is too long.
Oh, absolutely. If you look at the temperatures here right now, it reaches 110 in Arizona. Now, inside the car, it's going to get considerably hotter than that. So a child is not fully developed, their brain is not fully developed, and they're not capable of withstanding temperatures like that as an adult is. So even 5 to 10 minutes can be extremely dangerous. So no amount of time, it's just like I said when it comes to drownings, 1 minute is one too many, and you have to take that into account every day.
All right, thank you very much, Paul Penzone. Great advice for parents out there. Just reminders, we know parents can get distracted out there, and it sounds like in this particular case, they were distracted. In fact, yesterday, Mike Watkiss went out and spoke with neighbors and asked them about these parents, and they all said the same thing. These are good parents. It sounds like they just got distracted here.
Yeah, it is such a tragedy, though. Thanks very much, Javier.